Okay, so every single year, millions of high school students and their families start one of the biggest, and let's be real, one of the most stressful journeys of their lives, applying to college, here in the US. And if that quote hits home, you are definitely not alone. It really can feel like you're trying to solve some kind of intricate maze with all these dead ends and confusing turns, but that's exactly why we're doing this, to give you a kind of map, a guide to help you get through it all with way more confidence. So first up, the competitive landscape. Before we get into strategy, we've got to understand the numbers, We need to see just how big this whole thing really is.
It's the big question, right? It's on everyone's mind. You hear all the stories, you see the crazy headlines, but what's the reality? What does the actual data say about just how many people are in this race with you?
Well, get this. In just one recent application cycle, almost 6.6 million applications were sent in just through the Common App. That's a staggering number, and it really paints a picture of the sheer volume we're dealing with.
And here's the kicker. That number is only going up. Just look at the trend. From one year to the next, you see a jump of over 100,000 more students applying, which led to 500,000 more applications. So the big takeaway here, this isn't just a crowded field, it's a growing one. And that makes having a smart strategy more important than ever.
All right, Section 2, building your foundation. Now that we have a sense of the landscape, let's focus on what you can actually control. And more importantly, what colleges really, truly value the most.
So with all the different pieces of an application, what's the number one thing they look at? Well, year after year, when you survey admissions officers, the answer is always the same. It's your high school transcript, your grades, and the classes you took. That is the absolute foundation of your entire application.
But wait, it's not just about the final GPA. Admissions officers dig a little deeper. They're looking for something they call course rigor. Did you challenge yourself? Did you take those AP, IB, or honors classes that were available at your school? Because doing that sends a huge signal that you're ready to handle tough college-level work.
Okay, now let's talk about what you do outside of class. A super common mistake is what I call the laundry list approach. Joining a dozen different clubs just to fill up the page. But colleges are way more impressed by depth. They'd much rather see that you stuck with a few things you were truly passionate about, where you grew over time, maybe took on a leadership role, and actually made an impact.
Part 3, telling your story. Okay, you've got a strong academic foundation. Now it's time to focus on the parts of the application where you, your personality, your voice can really come to life.
This is just so important. Think about it. An admissions officer is looking at thousands of applications with pretty similar grades and scores. Your personal essay is what makes you jump off the page and become a real person. It's your one chance to share a story or an insight that a transcript could never, ever show.
So, what actually makes for a great essay? It's not about writing some epic story about your biggest trophy. It's all about authenticity, letting your real personality shine through. It's about self-reflection, showing that you've actually learned something from your experiences. And it's all about that classic advice, show, don't tell. Don't just say you're a curious person, tell a story that proves it.
And to help back up that story you're telling, you've got your recommenders. The letters from your teachers and your counselor are so powerful because they offer that third-party perspective. They're the ones who can confirm your intellectual curiosity in the classroom or talk about your character, which adds this huge layer of credibility to your entire application.
All right, Section 4, navigating the final steps. Your application is built. Now, let's get into those final critical decisions that pop up, especially around strategy and, of course, affordability.
Okay, listen up, because this is a big one. When you're thinking about applying early, you have to know the difference here. Early action is non-binding. You get a decision early, but you can still wait and see your other offers. Early decision, though, that's a binding contract. If you get in, you have to go. It is a massive commitment, but it's also the strongest possible way to tell your #1 dream school that they are, without a doubt, your top choice.
Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, money. You see these giant sticker prices for college, and it's honestly terrifying. But here's the secret. Almost nobody pays that full amount. The number you really need to care about is the net price. That's the cost after all the grants and scholarships are taken out. That is your actual bottom line.
So, how in the world do you figure out what your net price might be? It's actually pretty simple. Every single college in the country is required by law to have a net price calculator on its website. This is your single most powerful tool for affordability. It will give you a personalized estimate of what you might actually pay, and I'm telling you, it can completely change which schools you think are financially possible.
And, as we wrap this up, it's really important to just zoom out and reframe this whole thing. Yes, it's competitive. Of course it is. But it's also this incredible opportunity, this journey to figure out who you are, what you're passionate about, and what kind of community you want to be a part of. It's about finding the right fit, not just winning some prize.
And that's the thought I really want to leave you with. If you can shift your mindset from just asking, how do I get in, to asking, where am I going to thrive? Where will I be happy and successful? Well, that changes the entire experience. It empowers you to find a college that isn't just a great school, but the great school for you. And at the end of the day, that's the real goal, isn't it?